Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button, click that bell. You just gained a new best friend. If you're interested in finding out what happened in the musculoskeletal module at USUHS, stick around. Let's get into it. To say happy holidays to all my besties. I hope you guys all had a wonderful year. I would like to also say that this is a 1-year anniversary for my channel, so thank you to my subscribers, thank you to all my besties for joining me on this journey, and I really hope that I'm answering all your questions and giving you that insight that you need to make your decision on USUHS, decide what to do next in your medical school application process, and whatever you aspire to be. So thank you for rocking with me. I know it's been a while, but we have a lot to update. So let's get into it. So first, let's go back to where I left you guys off at. I was actually heading to Bushmaster for the first year experience as a patient in Pennsylvania. So that experience was definitely interesting. We were in the woods for 10 days. Not literally, but that's what I told everybody. But no, we were in Pennsylvania, and it was definitely a great experience. We got to do so many operational activities, and I'm going to list all of the activities that we did so you guys can see. I'm not going to go into too much. I do want it to be an organic experience for those who do plan on attending USU, so I'm just going to give you some brief highlights. I feel like Bushmaster for the MS1s was really an opportunity for us to get to know each other. Up until this point, we only knew our fire teams, and we hadn't really been able to interact and communicate with some of our other classmates. So this was a great time to sit down and get to know who we're actually going to medical school with. There were a lot of team building activities, a lot of thinking activities that we had to depend on one another to get through the task. So for Operation Bushmaster Patient Experience, our class was broken up into two groups, Alpha and Bravo. Alpha, unfortunately, got to go right after our final exam. I do not wish to be in their spot. I was in Bravo, so we actually got to take our break, and then we went on to do Bushmaster. So I arrived at Bushmaster on the 13th of October, and I stayed there until the 22nd of October. When we first arrived, it was definitely better than I expected, because we actually were staying in what the military calls barracks, which is military housing, usually for individuals who are in training. So we got our own beds, we got a shower. It was a community shower, but when you're in the military, you get used to that. But definitely better than what I expected, because I was told that we were going to be in the woods in a sleeping bag and using wipes. So hey, it would already start off on the up, because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be in the woods with wipes. Wasn't feeling it. But like I said, we did not have to do that. We were in the barracks. We did have community showers, but it's okay. A lot better than what I expected. So I'm not going to get into too many specifics of Bushmaster, just because I want it to be organic for those who do plan on attending USUHS, but I'll just give some highlights. So some of the events that we actually did required us to really rely on our classmates and talk to some of our classmates that we have not been able to talk to since the beginning of medical school, because we work in fire teams. So we were pretty much acquainted with our fire team, but it's a class of 177 individuals. So this was a great opportunity for us to bond and get to know those other classmates that we may have not interacted prior to this event. Upon arrival, you get a task card, which I will show you guys here on the side, and it lists all the activities you must complete. Now, this card has to be fully signed off in order for it to count as being completed for your military education at USUHS. So some of the tasks we had to do were map reading and land navigation, perform hand-to-hand combat, tactical movement. We shot M9s, we threw grenades, not real ones. Some other things, we had to load patients, and we had to do field preventive medicine. So like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I do want to, you know, allow those who do plan on attending USUHS that experience, but this will kind of give you an idea or a list of what we did, because like I said, I'm going to place the picture of the card here on the side. But overall, great experience. It definitely allowed me to really engage with my other classmates and get to know them, where they're from, you know, why medicine. So I definitely felt like it was a great experience. You still had your cell phone, so that was also good. We had service, and the weather was not that bad. I was definitely expecting it to be freezing, but it was not freezing. We actually had some sunshine, and I didn't have to wear my long johns every day, so that was great. But overall, go into it with an open mind, and you will definitely enjoy it. I did have, you know, some swollen knees after crawling in the grass, but like I said, it definitely was a great experience. And for those of you who do attend USUHS, enjoy it. Take that time, that off time, because it is in between our modules, our foundation module and our MSK module. So take your time off, enjoy it. Take the time at Bushmaster, enjoy it, and come back ready to get started with MSK. So that's all I'm going to say about Bushmaster. If you do have any other questions, don't hesitate to leave a comment, email me, and I'll go into a little bit more detail. I want those who plan on attending USUHS to have that organic experience. So let's move on, because we have a lot to get through, and I definitely don't want this video to be too long. It will be longer than usual, but we're going to try to keep it as short as feasible, with me still getting you guys all the information you want to know. So next, MSK, Musculoskeletal Module at USUHS. Baby, this module was no joke. Like, the fire hydrant analogy is absolutely accurate, okay? Like, you feel like you're going 100 miles per hour while you're in this module. And it definitely felt like this was really medical school. Like, foundations for me, it didn't really feel too much like medical school, but like MSK for sure felt like medical school. But it was so much fun. We learned so much in those 7 weeks. From where I started to where I am now is really incredible to me, because I'm able to name body parts from head to toe, veins, arteries. It's really enlightening, and just, I'm really proud of myself, because it was so much going on top of, you know, taking on my position as the SNMA president, and, you know, doing events with that program. So it was just so much, so encompassing, but it was definitely a great module. So, you know, I like to be as transparent as possible, so I'm going to show you guys a screenshot of our first week. So as you can see, it's broken up into mandatory activities and distance learning activities. So our mandatory activities included lab for pathology, which is focused on disease of the immune system. We also had that same day our introduction to the cadaver lab. Now, that was definitely probably one of the highlights for me during the module, because I've never been in a cadaver lab. So I definitely thought that was absolutely amazing. Now, if you have a high sensitivity in your smelling, then take that in consideration, because formaldehyde is not the best smelling liquid. However, I can't smell that great, so it really didn't bother me. But yes, that was definitely exciting. The next day we had a lab dissection for muscle, skeleton, neurovascular, and the back. So, you know, we flipped over our cadaver prone, and we just got into it and started, you know, dissecting trapezius, and going from there. And it's just, I don't know, I get giddy about it because it was really an awesome experience just to kind of see these different muscles and just see how they run, and be able to, you know, name these muscles at the end of MSK. So on the 28th, we had commandant's call, and commandant's call, they vary. They usually try to have it maybe once or twice a module, and they kind of just update us on information that we need to know as far as our military side of things. I believe this commandant's call, she discussed TRICARE, but don't quote me on that. But just expect to have commandant's calls throughout your module once or twice, no more usually than 2 times. But we had that on the 28th. We also had a small group for histology, skin and glands, which they give you this information to look over prior to coming to the small group. So that way, if you have any questions or some misunderstandings, you can ask your questions and, you know, get further detail in the information that's presented. That same day, we also have physical exam. Now, in physical exam, my preceptors were amazing. Shout out to them. They're so organized. They they would bring in like extra stuff to make sure that we understood everything we needed to know for physical exam, exactly what we were looking for. And I definitely appreciate the hands-on experience that they gave us. So in physical exam, we usually show up in our PT gear and we just perform the physical exam on our classmates. And that's how it works throughout the module. The next day on the 29th, we did dissection, the vertebral canal and the spinal cord. And you can expect in MSK to have lab 2 to 3 times a week, just so you're aware. And then some of the distance learning that we had to do is here, as well as our self-study sessions. So for our self-study sessions, we would get anywhere from 2 to 4 lectures to complete on our own. These are all pre-recorded, so you can watch on your own time. I personally woke up at 5 a.m. every morning to knock my lectures out because I did not want to have to worry about my lectures in the latter half of the day. I wanted to be studying or looking into stuff that maybe I didn't understand and keeping up with my Anki. Y'all, let me tell you, besties, I actually kept up with my Anki this time, and I'm so proud of myself. It definitely made a world of a difference when it came to me remembering things, but I have a love-hate relationship with Anki. Like, if you start with Anki the first day and you keep up with it, good to go. But if you miss one day, it's a toxic relationship. It's so toxic. Like, you miss one day and you now have 697 cards to do. So we'll talk about that another time. But if you're going to do Anki, start the first day and stick with it. I did that this module and I'm very proud of my results. So that was my little side, but back into it. So as you can see, we have about, like I said, anywhere from 2 to 4 pre-recorded lectures that we must watch. Now, they can range anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour and 45 minutes. I usually put my lectures on anywhere from 1.5 to 2 times speed. It just depends on if this is like my first time watching it or maybe my second time watching it. But you know, you can decide when you want to watch it. I definitely highly encourage you to not fall behind because you can easily miss a couple days and then this information becomes overwhelming. If you just try to always complete your lectures every day, it will save you time, it'll save you stress. I know some individuals, they did get behind with some of the lectures and they kind of played catch up. I personally could not operate like that. I had to make sure that I finished all my lectures that day. As you also can see, we had a few assessments to complete, some for our military medicine information, others were for our quizzes. So each week we had a few quizzes we had to do. We had our pathology quiz, which the pathology quiz would be given in the beginning of pathology and we would be able to take it as a fire team. Shout out to my fire team because we got 100 on about 90% of our quizzes, so kudos to us. And then you also had to take a physical exam quiz. Now, if you do the pre-reading, the quiz is based off the pre-reading. It was usually about 5 questions. If you did the reading, you usually get the correct answers. So on Wednesdays, they usually open up a formative quiz. The formative quiz is just to kind of see where you're at with the information. As long as you took it, you got the credit. And then on Monday, we'd have a summative quiz where that's actually counted for a grade. You don't get to use any materials, no help, and you only take that quiz one time. So quite a few quizzes to take throughout the week. Way more quizzes this module than last module, but I actually appreciate the quizzes because it actually allowed me to see where I stood with the information. So I appreciate the quizzes. Not quite sure how other people felt about it, but they weren't extensive. I think our summative quizzes had maybe 15 to 20 questions on them, so it wasn't too crazy. But if you did the reading, if you watched the lectures, you would do fine on the quizzes. They weren't overarching, but I feel like the summative quiz kind of gave you an idea of kind of what to expect when it came to the midterm and the finals. So just be ready to take way more quizzes in MSK than you did in Foundations. Foundations, we only had an end of the week quiz, and that was really it. Okay, so moving forward, that was the first week of the module. Like I said, the first half of that module really focused on dermatology and the different skin diseases that affected us. We had a lot of dissection labs, a lot of small groups. We had some ultrasound small groups. So it was a very interactive module. We were at school every day of the week. Every day of the week we were at school for MSK. So just be prepared for that. Okay guys, so we're going to move on to the second half of the module, which honestly was my favorite part of the module because I felt like some of the pathology and the physiology actually made sense. So I'm going to take you guys to week 6 because week 4 was kind of weird just because we had a midterm on that Monday, and then week 5 was Thanksgiving. So I'll kind of show you guys what week 6 looks like. These are our mandatory activities. On the 29th, we had lab for pathology, focused on the muscle tissues. On the 30th, we did our knee prosection. On the 30th as well, we did a lab for MSK and DVT ultrasound. As well as we had our physical exams on the knee, which is my favorite physical exam, I will say that. And then on the 1st, we had dissection of the anterior medial thigh. And then a small group histology for cartilage and bone. On the 2nd, we have pathology for bone 1. And then on the 3rd, we had another lab dissection. So like I said, you can see it's anywhere from 2 to 3 anatomy labs. And then we have other labs in between. For our distance learning, there was an optional meeting for capstones for those who are interested in doing research. Moving on, these are the pre-recorded lectures. As you can see, not as much as in the beginning of the module. I feel like they front load the information in the beginning, and then at the end it's more digestible. So as you can see, Monday we had imaging, bone fractures. Tuesday we had infections of joints and bone. Wednesday, bone and joint pathology preview. Thursday, introduction to pain management, NSAIDs and anti-inflammatory drugs. And then Friday, the clinical correlation of the hip and knee. And then as well on the side, you guys can see some of the reminders we have and some of the assessments. So overall, it was a lot of information, but I learned so much. I'll show you guys the last week, which was finals, week 8. We started off with a hemorrhage control for military medicine. We were required to take a quiz before the end of the week, but that was really just kind of like a pass or fail thing. But moving on to the actual finals for MSK, we had our first OSCE, which for me was amazing to be able to interact with a standardized patient, get their chief complaint, their HPI, their past medical history, their family medical history, their social history. It was really great to kind of just test those skills that I've learned in Foundations as well as MSK, and then also perform a physical examination and then have a differential that I would give to the preceptor. So definitely a great experience. My patient complimented me so much on it. I definitely felt good. Any type of imposter syndrome I may have had at that time, it kind of just went away when I heard her comments and also the preceptor's comments. And then we were required to do a write-up and turn that in within a week. Then on Wednesday, we had our anatomy practical. Basically, they set up all the cadavers in a circle, and we had 55 seconds at each cadaver to write out the muscle or the bone or the artery or the vein or whatever they had pinned, as well as whether it was right or left. And your girl did great. I got 45 out of 50 questions correct. So definitely proud of myself with that. Thursday, we had our faculty exam. It was 80 questions. Your girl passed. I got a B. And then on Friday, we had our MBMME, which is the National Board Medical Examination. And I passed. I also got a B on that one as well. So I hope that this answered anyone's questions about the MSK module. So besties, I hope this answered any question that you guys have about MSK. If you have any more questions, please comment below. Please email me. That's what I'm here for. I don't get paid to do this stuff. I'm not sponsored by the school. I do this on my own time. I record, I edit all on my own time because I really want people who are interested in USUHS or just interested in becoming a medical student to see my journey and to know that if I can do it, you can do it. So please reach out to me. Like I said, you just gained a new best friend. Happy holidays. I wish you guys nothing but success in the new year.